there, this is Teya, and today we're gonna condition a muzzle. As a dog trainer, I believe that conditioning your dog to a muzzle is one of the most important skills you can teach your dog. So today we're gonna walk through several checkpoints, such as why would your dog need a muzzle, how not to condition your dog to a muzzle, and how to actually do it. So let's get started. There are many of regulations in different countries that require specifically your dog or your breed of a dog to wear a muzzle. For instance, in Ukraine, Belgian Shepherd Malinois should be wearing a muzzle. So there might be lists of potentially dangerous dogs in your surrounding, and you might have that specific breed that might be considered potentially dangerous. Or you might just have a reactive and aggressive dog. Your dog might be eating, I don't know, sticks or stones and some sort of pica disease that causes that behavior, and you just want to limit that. Or you might be going to a vet and you simply need to muzzle your dog to provide safety for both you and the person providing service for your dog. These are not the only reasons, but these are the most important reasons. I won't be even mentioning the reason that you might get in a car crash and people might be, I don't know, feel safer handling your dog in a muzzle and your dog is not conditioned to a muzzle properly, which makes this situation even more stressful. That's why I simply think that even if you don't have a reactive and aggressive dog, having your dog muzzled or having your dog conditioned to be muzzled is a very, very useful skill that every dog should have. So before we even start with how to do it, let's get started with something that I hate the most, how definitely you should not be doing it. One of the worst experiences your dog might have being muzzled is when you're trying to catch your dog and then you're trying to muzzle it up by force, and then you're bringing this dog to a vet. This is the worst case scenario for your dog and to condition your dog to a muzzle. You cannot just simply condition a dog to wear a muzzle by muzzling it up. It does work sometimes, but it's just not very pleasant for both you and the dog. Second mistake that I often see people do is only muzzle the dog up when it's specifically required. Like you only muzzle your dog up when you're going to a groomer or when you're going to a vet or when you're going, I don't know, to a very, very social event and there will be a lot of people touching your dog and you want to provide people safety. By the way, don't do that, please. Don't allow random people to touch your dog. So there might be plethora of reasons your dog is wearing a muzzle, but please just don't make all of those experiences negative experiences. Your dog should have positive experiences in a muzzle. Your dog should have gone for a walk in a muzzle. Your dog should have gone in a park with a muzzle. This just makes the whole experience for your dog way better, and they expect less in terms of bad handling or stuff like that. There are a plethora of materials and sizes and brands that you can use in order to muzzle up your dog, but just please, if you're using a medical muzzle, don't restrict your dog with a medical muzzle for a very long time, because it goes quite tightly around their face, around their muzzle, and they cannot drink in it, they cannot pant in it, they cannot, by panting, they drop off the stress and they release the thermal energy. So if they're hot, they're panting to release some of the heat. So please, if you're providing your dog with a medical muzzle, just make sure to take that off often, and providing a dog with some water and some room for panting and some room to decrease their stress. Otherwise, it might be extremely dangerous for your dog. And please, 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 never take your dog for a walk in a medical muzzle. If you're not aware, a medical muzzle looks like this. Another big mistake that I often see people are making is putting a muzzle on a dog to punish the dog. It doesn't matter whether the dog is barking and you're putting a very tight muzzle around the dog's face to not allow the barking. It doesn't matter if your dog is biting because it's a puppy and you're muzzling the dog up to omit the biting. It's still punishing behavior for a dog, and it is a very stressful behavior that might transfer to a muzzle, and in the future your dog will be stressed or your dog will be scared of a muzzle. So please don't ever punish your dog with a muzzle. Try to see the behavior or the emotions that are causing this behavior that you're trying to punish, rather than just punish the behavior with a very useful tool that might be used in a very friendly and a very, I don't know, cheerful and neutral manner. So now, once you know what not to do, let's get started with what you actually should do in order to condition your dog to a muzzle. So first of all, you want your dog to be calm before you even present the muzzle to a dog. If you're dealing with overly aroused dog and you're trying to condition a muzzle, you might accidentally correlate this arousal behavior to a muzzle. And in every instance that I named earlier, like taking a dog to a vet or taking a dog to a groomer, you would prefer a calmer dog rather than overly aroused dog. So first of all, we're trying to condition a muzzle when a dog is a little bit calm and at least neutral. Second thing is, if you have a very sensitive dog, we're trying to break the conditioning of a muzzle on as many steps as is needed for your dog. Some dogs are pretty much okay if you just give the dog to sniff the basket and then you just put up the muzzle and you give them a few treats and then you can lock the muzzle and you're good to go. But most of the dogs are sensitive and they find muzzle pretty aversive. It's not that the muzzle is aversive tool, but the dogs might find it aversive because it limits the movement of their jaws and it sometimes goes fairly tight around their neck. So you want to make that experience of wearing a muzzle and condition your dog to a muzzle as least stressful as it can be. So I myself have a very sensitive dog, and you're gonna see that I'm trying to break conditioning a muzzle to as many steps as possible. First of all, I'm allowing a dog to sniff a muzzle. Second, I allow my dog to put his head or to offer his head in a muzzle. If that's not working, then I suggest chin rest, and my dog is doing chin rest, and I'm seeing if my dog is okay with accepting a little bit of a muzzle. Yes. Yes. And then I'm rewarding that. Then I'm trying to teach the dog separately how to tighten the straps around the neck. And then we combine those together. I don't really prefer, for sensitive dogs, I don't really prefer when you put on the basket of a muzzle and you're straight ahead are trying to tighten the straps, because again, it might be a little bit stressful, and it's better to overdo the steps than not do enough, and then you have a very negative connotation of the muzzle for your dog. When you're conditioning your dog to a muzzle, try offering calming signals yourself and also look for calming signals of your dog. So if your dog is giving you a whale eye, if your dog is licking lips, if your dog is yawning a lot, the dog might experience some stress and you might offer some calming signals yourself. For example, yawning will actually lower your dog's stress levels, and it can suggest that you're meaning no harm, or also try slow blinking, like don't look at your dog straight and don't look in your dog's soul, like specifically trying to see what the dog is doing and how the dog is reacting. try to be relaxed yourself, try to collect yourself, try very, very slow blinking and then yawning a couple of times, and make your movements as slow as possible to offer calmness and again to condition calmness with muzzling up the dog. Once the dog is okay with the muzzle being on his face and the straps being slightly tightened, don't overdo it. Less is more. Try doing less time rather than more time, so then your dog is not feeling that stressed. Try to not over tighten the straps for the first time. Maybe leave some room for the first time, so then your dog will be much more relaxed in a muzzle, and then try tightening it up as far as you go. Also, increase the time increments that you're using to muzzle up the dog. For instance, if your dog is feeling comfortable for 3 minutes, try raising it to 5 minutes. If your dog is feeling comfortable up to 5 minutes, try raising it to 10 minutes.
Yes.
Once there is a time frame within your dog is actually being comfortable with the muzzle, try doing something fun. Try incorporating something fun with the muzzle. Try doing treat searches if you have a muzzle that your dog can pick up treats in. Try doing, I don't know, some sniff searches, some sniff-aries, taking a dog to a walk, taking a dog to a forest, and try to condition that muzzle is fun. Muzzle is not something that limits you. Muzzle is not something that averses you. Muzzle is something fun that brings you freedom, that gives you safety and gives other people safety. So try doing as many fun things with your dog as you can. The biggest tip that I can give you is actually more complicated than it sounds, but try experimenting with muzzles. See different sizes, search for different brands, search for different materials, and offer your dog different muzzles for some time in order for your dog to feel comfortable in a specific type and see that for yourself. So if you only ended up with one muzzle, you can, I don't know, try to return it if your dog doesn't like it, and see for yourself. There are different types of materials, and your dog might not prefer plastic, but your dog might prefer the wired one. Your dog might not prefer the wired one, but your dog might prefer, I don't know, the biothane muzzle, or your dog might prefer, I don't know how they're called, the plastic muzzles, the one that are clear. Actually, you'll see it somewhere here. I'm not sure about the material that they are made from. That's it for today. If you find something unclear, please don't hesitate to leave the comment in the comment section, and I'll gladly respond to it. Also, please consider subscribing and giving this video a like and pressing that bell so you'll have notifications when next video is out. I wish you best of luck when training your dog. Thanks for watching this video. Bye bye. Don't over-arouse your dog when you're muzzle training your dog, right?